It looks like a woman avoided a pest that needed to nest and rest. She posted in the Am I the A-hole subreddit asking, Am I the a-hole for not letting my boyfriend move in with me after he got evicted? So he needed a place to burrow. She says, So my boyfriend and I have been dating for about a year. Things have been good, but we don't live together. I have a small one-bedroom apartment that I worked really hard to get. It's clean, quiet, and honestly, my peace. Last week, he told me he got evicted because he lost his job and couldn't keep up with the rent. He asked if he could move in with me just for a few months until he gets back on his feet. I told him no. I felt bad, but I've always been super protective of my space. I also work from home and I'm very routine. Plus, we haven't even talked about living together before this. He got really upset and said I was selfish and clearly didn't care about him as much as he thought. He said if the roles were reversed, he'd let me move in, no question. Now he's crashing on a friend's couch and barely speaking to me. A mutual friend told me I should have at least offered him a trial stay or something. I feel bad, but I also feel like, it says, I feel bad, but I also feel like being pressured to change my whole life setup overnight isn't fair. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. You're not the a-hole. Because the thing is, he said last week he got evicted because he lost his job. Losing your job does not mean that you're right, but you're behind at that particular moment. It takes a while to get evicted. He knew if he were falling behind on bills or not. And the thing is, this is not just where she where she lives. It's where she works. And she can't have a person just imposing on her life like that. It's a one-bedroom apartment. It's not even a big space. And so the thing is, men are really looking for these resources to tap into. And she avoided it because she has clear boundaries. She says that her apartment is her peace, and she's not willing to give up her peace for a man. And really did want to do this post because, so many times women are pressured, they give into the pressure, and then they're the ones that are stressed or overburdened or doing way too much. She did not get to the point of doing way too much because she said, nah, fam, it's going to be a no for me. I'm really happy with this post. And I'm glad that the person who sent me this took the screenshots because, yes, she actually deleted the post. I was tagged right here. Nemesis says, not the a-hole. Your boyfriend is an adult and he should figure out his own issues without the help of his mommy or significant other. From the sound of it, he sounds like a potential pest that wants to nest and rest, or even a hobosexual. You are not selfish for wanting to protect your space and your peace. Furthermore, he's not your child and you're under no obligation to shelter him. Don't feel pressured to let a boyfriend invade your personal space. I would suggest checking out Bourbon Bougie and her YouTube channel. She has plenty of videos of pests that want to nest and rest. Either way, stand your ground and protect your space. And that's the thing. If women get to the point where they are taking their time, energy, and resources and pouring it into themselves versus pouring it into a man, we would be so far. But women get pulled down. They become shells of themselves when they allow these men to attach to them and suck their time, energy, and resources. I keep repeating these things consistently and constantly. I keep doing it over and over because it's the repetition that I want y'all to understand. Don't let these people suck you dry. You see the glow up that some women have after a divorce or a breakup is because they have detached that parasite that was sucking them dry. Now, this man could have been a person that stayed there for 3 months, got himself together. But if he's gotten himself evicted, like because he lost his job last week, that means that he was not managing his money well. And that person would be a person that would bring her down. Tell them I said hi says, hold on. He got evicted because he couldn't pay the rent. How many months did he miss? Evictions take time. Was he actually evicted or did they just not renew? How long has he been out of work? Is he looking for a new job? This story doesn't hold water. He's looking for a free place. Dump this hobosexual. And I underlined hobosexual because I love the fact that so many different people are using this term. People need to know and understand that there are people simply out there preying on you or attracted to you because you have a nice apartment. They're attracted to you for your apartment. They're attracted to you because you have Wi-Fi. They want to get into your couch and burrow into your couch. They want your air conditioner. So you need to say no to hobosexuals. Prior Butterfly says, these are important questions. Even if the lease was written in a way where eviction can start immediately after missing a month's rent, the eviction process itself takes time. There is a court process to go through. So if he's acting like this came out of nowhere and then decided to only tell the OP when he had already been evicted, that means he was hiding what was happening for at least a few weeks. I hate being negative and reading too far into things, but there's every possibility he waited and hid it from her because he assumed that she wouldn't say no if he was already evicted versus giving her a heads up to what was happening and having a move-in conversation. Kooky at the bottom says he's either crap at communicating, which is a red flag, or doing this deliberately to try to twist OP's arm and force her to take him in, which is not so much a red flag as the Soviet army on a parade through the Red Square. So he's like, it's not just a red flag, it's a whole parade of flags. I wanted to get to this one from Lloyd Rainey saying, not the a-hole. I let a guy move in temporarily for similar reasons. It took me 3 years to get rid of him. That involved me leaving him with all my house stuff just because it was the only way to get rid of him for good. Absolute nightmare. If a dude can't pay his own way, he's no use to you. Trust me. This woman said it took her 3 years to get rid of a person. Please take that as a cautionary tale. Don't let these people burrow into your home. It could jack you up financially. The process of eviction is a costly one. So that could be a mistake that costs you down the line because they prey on your empathy and they know how long they get to stay before they have tenants' rights and all of that. Reading Saved My Life says, I have a similar experience, but it took 9 years out my life. We spent 2 years in my studio apartment. I was paying for it with the help of my parents while he pretended to look for jobs, but didn't find anything he liked. He cleaned up his act long enough for us to buy a property together. So now I'm stuck with the lawyer fees to get rid of him for good. He's closing on 40 years old and still can't behave like a responsible adult. It all started with letting him stay for a few weeks because his family didn't have space and his friends were just as broke. I should have known when his mother said, thank you, now I won't have to do his laundry. His mother thanked her for taking him off of her hands. Yes, that right there is a red flag. Please take these stories, put them in your back pocket, and know and understand that there is a reason why we say don't allow these people to come into your home and burrow into your home, because sometimes it's hard to get rid of them. All right, join the conversation. Let me know if you have any stories. I'm pushing towards 80,000 subscribers over on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and push subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. So we've been talking about these men getting blindsided. We've been talking about these find out season stories and all of this. But this is not new. This phenomenon has been going on, but now we're just talking about it on social media. So this woman named Allie, she went to Threads and she made a post saying, today, my dad told me he still didn't understand why my mom divorced him 17 years ago. I didn't think he was serious, but when I realized he was, I told him why. She was tired of being a married single mother. He was a stay-at-home dad, yet she would get home after her hour commute and have to make us dinner, clean the house, and do our bedtime routine. She would also get us ready for the day, even if it made her late to work, while he slept in, all the while she paid the bills. This shocked him. So he was not a stay-at-home dad, because a stay-at-home mom does things like cooks, cleans, does the support things that is necessary for the home. So this man was simply a bum. That's it. It wasn't that he was a stay-at-home dad, and that's the reason why it's put in quotes. And that's the thing. It's like, we're going to get to the point where these dads have to do more in the home. But like Pew Research, there is data out there that says even when women are the breadwinners, they still do more housework than the men. Even if they work more, bring in more money, women still tend to put in more hours with the kids and doing the chores. So that is going to have to change. Otherwise, these men are going to continue to be blindsided and not understand why she just up and left. The fact that she had to go to work, do everything within the home. Obviously, like she said, she was a married single mother. She could do all of this by herself. She has shown that. But if she's doing it being a divorced mother, that means that she doesn't have to take care of him as well. I like these types of posts because other women start commenting under the post. So Julia Fly Guy says, I am very vocal. I told my husband over and over again what was wrong in our marriage. When I left him, he tried to go through my phone to find the man I was cheating on him with. Of course, he didn't find that man. I didn't leave him for a man. I left him because he never bothered listening to me. He got stuck with the 17-year-old and the dogs. I was a new flight attendant, so it was easier for my son to live with him. I raised my kids from when they were born until my son was 17. My husband struggled raising a 17-year-old and taking care of 2 dogs. He finally realized all that I had done in our marriage, and he didn't even have to do a minuscule piece of what I had to do. Because, when a person has to take care of a newborn and heal and have sleep deprivation and juggle all of that with cooking and cleaning and everything, newborns and toddler stages is so much harder than the 17-year-old that is self-sufficient. So yes, he didn't have to do the hard part, but she's saying that he is struggling or did struggle. A man comes to comment. So behold, we have a man. A man has arrived to make a comment. Tony says, flight attendants unfortunately have the highest divorce rates. Not surprised. So he needed to come in and lump some of the husband's behaviors onto her by kind of shifting blame. Oh, you're a flight attendant. Okay, that is not the biggest deal. The biggest deal is he wasn't listening to her and she was repeating herself over and over. That could have happened with any career. But Julia Flygirl says, why would you say not surprised? I became a flight attendant because of the difficulties in my marriage. We separated a year after I started because I finally realized how independent I was and that I could make it on my own. My husband went into intense therapy after realizing he didn't appreciate me and how much I did and that he wanted me back. I went into therapy after I realized I had plenty to work on myself. We have been back together for 3 years. I would say that me being a flight attendant helped us get the help we needed. There you go. Something that actually has a happy ending. They separated, they got themselves together, and then they came back together. That's good. She continues with, one thing he realized before me was how insulting it was that he accused me of cheating on him instead of just realizing I left him because he wouldn't listen to me. That's a common man's assumption, to believe a woman would leave for another man instead of her leaving because she was just done with him. Sailing the Amazon says, this is how I know that wifedom and being a stay-at-home mom is a form of labor abuse or slavery, because men think they're doing the stay-at-home role. They all do, but not a single one of them actually does everything a wife does. That's not true. My husband, no, he doesn't. Lie to yourself. Let him lie to you. Men will leave before they'll actually take on everything a wife does. They think it's beneath them. That's how I know marriage is social subjugation and reinforcement of a servant class. And yes, we do know and understand that there will be some exceptions to the rules. We do understand that there will be some dads that can fall into the roles of stay-at-home dads and pull it off beautifully. Those are exceptions to the rules. They are not the rules themselves. Pharaoh Freckle says, I made double his salary when I had our daughter, commuting 70 miles each way. His commute was 20 minutes. He was not interested in being the primary parent, so I left my career. She says, I'm embarrassed and disgusted by myself for every time I joked that I needed a wife. Because when you say you need a wife, you're saying that you need somebody that's going to fill in for all of the things, doing the cooking, the cleaning, the admin, all of that. And she knows this. We all know that this is what marriage is. That's the reason why Sailing the Amazon said social subjugation. And that's the reason why this woman had a husband. But she's not saying, I need my husband to lean in more and do more work. She's saying, I need a woman. I need a woman that's going to do all of these things. Sailing the Amazon says, I know someone whose housekeeping biz was called the Mom's Missus with the tagline, because sometimes a wife needs a wife. Most of her stories were of a stay-at-home dads who were above emptying the dishwasher. These types of posts get so many comments because people start to weigh in with the stories that they went through or that they heard. So I'm not going to keep going. I'll end it with this one. But Frogert Kerr says, I had a boss admit that when he'd spend time at home with the kids, it was easier than work. Yeah, bud, no mystery about that marriage counseling receipt I found by the file by accident. Let me save you some money real quick. You were doing a job at home. Because, it does take a lot to be tapped in with the parenting and the housework and all of the things that make things work. And sometimes the dudes are not tapped in because they haven't felt they had to for whatever reason. And that's the reason why many of them get blindsided. The big size says, yeah, parenting isn't stressful if you just do whatever you feel like and periodically neglect your children. Love when someone, even of the same gender, says it's so easy, and then I watch them glued to some screen of some sort while checking on their kid with a glance, like twice. Yeah, you do have to be tapped into these people because it is work to raise a child. You have to talk to them. You got to give them food and stuff. You got to check in, support them, and all of these things. It's not just super duper easy. All right, y'all, join in the conversation. Let me know what you think. Do you have some stories of your own? Let us know. Like, comment, and share. This woman is speaking about co-parenting with her ex-husband who left them last year. She says, my ex thinks threatening me with lawyers scares me. So this time when he brought them up, I said, I've already informed my lawyer, and he changed his approach to trying to make me feel guilty. What he doesn't realize is that I will always do what's best for my kids. There's no amount of guilt or anxiety or fear that will make me risk my kids' mental or physical health. He left us October 10th, 2024. He didn't say he was coming back, just that he was going over the road. I found out through his friends and screenshots that he was planning on moving to Texas. We live in Indy and going to open up a new bank account, etc. The same day he left, I was in the hospital for a second time in 2 weeks. The first was a seizure. The second was a collapsed intestine. Fast forward to February 2025. He hasn't seen the kids. He's only spoken to them for a total of 18 and a half minutes since he's left, not sent any child support. February 13th, our provisional order is in place. Due to evidence, he's only allowed to see the kids once a week for 8 hours, supervised with itinerary provided. We meet at the police station. He has to give me 48 hours before he visits. He also was supposed to get a mental health eval within 30 days and pay X amount in child support per week. Fast forward, he gives me a heads up that he's coming on the 30th of March, around the 15th. Not sure the exact dates off the top of my head. Have it in writing. The girls have a birthday party on the 29th, so it works out perfectly. They'll have plenty to talk about. The Wednesday before that weekend, he writes that says he wants to see the kids Thursday. I tell him I'm working, so he can only see them for 2 hours. And then he says he'll see them on the 29th instead. I said, I told you they have a birthday party. His response is, it's the weekend. I get them. I'm picking Saturday. My lawyer convinces me to change my plans so he can see them. So I do. I deal with the meltdown after telling them that they're missing the birthday party, apologize a lot to the parents that I had already RSVP'd to, and take them to this visit. After the 4-hour visit, my youngest, who is on the spectrum and we had just potty trained, comes back to my van. No, I did not leave the park, with her pants soaked. And the next day at school, my oldest, who has never had issues and loves school, has a meltdown at school. Counselor calls me to talk about her visit with her dad. So he's disrupting a birthday party, and I know that those kids were heartbroken because of that. And whatever happened in this visit caused a child to melt down and pee on herself and caused the other to have a meltdown at school. That goes to show what kind of parent that man is. Fast forward to this past week. He's behind on support. Average calls about once every 1 to 1.5 weeks, and they're always less than 5 minutes every time. Told his lawyers that I wasn't providing him the information about our house. His lawyer was snarky with my lawyer. Then after getting screenshots proving otherwise, she told my lawyer she would talk to him about it. He writes me on Wednesday and says, "Be in Indy on Friday. Want to see the girls." I immediately write my lawyer, giving him a heads up that I already have plans to go out of town. I'm not changing them again, and my ex can see them on Sunday. Then I respond to my ex, letting him know that we'll be out of town, and if he wants, I'll come back early on Sunday. He threatens to get the lawyers involved, then says he's just passing through so he can't see them Sunday, then tries to guilt me into it by saying he took this route to see the girls and he won't be up this way for a while after Friday. All of that to say, to the mamas out there trying to co-parent with the narcissist, I see you. Never be afraid to use your voice. Taking that power back is one of the best feelings in the world. You know what's best for your kids, and you don't constantly have to be the one giving up pieces of yourself up. You've got this. It will get better. And that's the thing. He's not really wanting to parent. He's trying to disrupt their lives. And by doing the things that he's doing, just popping in and making demands, is not taking into account that his girls actually have plans and have things that they want to do. He doesn't care. It's all about being on his schedule. He didn't even let her know, "Oh, I might be in town on this day. Do you have any plans?" But if he is a narcissist, him knowing her plans, he would probably try to disrupt the plans simply because he wants to be the one in control, even from afar, even with him being the one that walked out on his family. The crazy thing about these people that walk out on their family, they still want to punish the person that they walked away from. And for that, I simply don't understand punishing somebody that you walked away from. Stinkerbell says, if you ever need backup for the supervised visits, I'm just down the road. Sharon says, he's behind on child support. He's in violation of your agreement, so visitation is on your terms. And she says, I do try for my kids' sake, but they don't even want to see him at 5 and 6 years old. That's how bad he is. Kids know and understand things that are going on. At 5 and 6 years old, these girls don't want to see their dad. It's wild that some people think that children don't have thoughts and beliefs and opinions because they are young. Kids see things. Kids know and understand and can articulate how they feel. It's just that sometimes parents or other people on the outside don't think that kids should have a say. Kids should have a say in things. Mandy says, my kids are 19 and 26 now, and I can tell you from experience that every inch you give will only hurt your children that much more. Stick to the agreement and don't make any exceptions for any reason. You're not keeping his kids from him. His behavior is keeping them from him. And even if you did keep him from them, so what? What kind of parent would you be if you didn't protect your children from him? And then this person at the bottom, Colgate Susan says, narcissist contra-parent, not co-parent, contra-parent. They use their kids as pawns in a game of revenge against the other parent. Been there. Keep everything exact as court ordered. Minimum days of notice, or they do this last minute BS, even while avoiding paying any funding for the child. So they can just avoid visitations. They can avoid sticking to their word. They can avoid child support and all of that, but think that they are supposed to be centered simply because they pop in. Absolutely not. Don't disrupt your child's lives because this person wants to pop in periodically. Let me know what you think. Join the conversation. Do you have any experience with this kind of thing? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
The tale of Medusa is like really dumb to me.
Why?
Because she was the victim the entire time, from being assaulted by Poseidon to being transformed into a monster by Athena and then killed by Perseus. She was just a victim the entire time.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about the framing, but it also aligns deeply with what women experience in this world.
Mm.
Oftentimes, when they are victimized, they are then people do a lot of crazy reworking to make them responsible for it, or the monsters themselves for even wanting justice or sharing their experience and being transparent. So I'm glad you caught on.
Yeah, it's just so it's so cruel.
It is. It's definitely cruel.